Good evening, and welcome to Soapbox Tonight, the show where politics is basically humans yelling at each other, creatively, for thousands of years. And guess what? You're invited. Buckle up, it's gonna be loud. A long time ago, people decided to try living in groups. They called these groups societies because apparently the human herd didn't test well in focus groups. They traded, argued, occasionally agreed, and then someone said, hey, maybe we should figure out how to run this whole civilization thing. And boom, politics was born. The pattern has not changed much. Side A does a thing, side B hates it, side B does a different thing, side A hates that. Someone invents a catchy slogan. The crowd goes wild, and then somewhere a squirrel rolls its eyes. And that, my friends, is where you've landed. You're already in the conversation. All you need is a curiosity, a Wi-Fi connection, and the confidence to state your hot take like it's the first time anyone's ever thought of it. And bonus points if someone chokes on their latte. Here's a few examples. Inflation and the cost of living. Side A says, we'll try this interest rate thing to tame inflation. Side B screams, you're killing the economy. Then slogans pop up. Fight the Fed. Too little, too late. The outcome? Social media debates, canned goods being hoarded, and avocado toast left untouched. Classic humanity. Another example, social media regulation and free speech. Side A, tech companies should moderate harmful content. Side B screams censorship. The slogans, free speech now, ban the ban. The outcome, viral memes, heated congressional hearings, and endless Twitter threads, and somehow the cat videos survive. Miracles happen, people. Miracles happen. You see the pattern yet? Side A does a thing, side B hates it, slogans get invented, and chaos ensues. Repeat for 3,000 years and counting. So here's the takeaway for beginners. You don't need to know every law, every scandal, or every viral fight. Just watch the rhythm, notice the slogans, laugh a little, scratch your head a lot, then jump in. And speaking of rhythms, some people are rewriting the protest playbook entirely, and they're doing it with straw hats, chants, and a little anime magic. 2 weeks ago, we told you about Carlos Manzo, the independent mayor of Uruapan, Michoacan, the man who spoke truth to power, named names, warned of criminal activity in his city, and yes, paid the ultimate price. Since then, something remarkable has happened in Mexico City. Thousands of young protesters flooded the streets in response to his assassination. And yes, they were wearing straw hats, waving anime-style flags, chanting in unison. Now, I'm not a Gen Z anime fan. I'm not a member of the Straw Hat Pirates. But what happened in Reforma Avenue is worth paying attention to, because these young people are speaking in a language that blends pop culture, political outrage, and generational solidarity. For a little background, Carlos Manzo wasn't your typical politician. An independent mayor in a city under cartel influence. He publicly warned that armed groups controlled parts of Uruapan. He called for federal support, and he named names. Sometimes in interviews, sometimes on social media. He lived under constant threat. In his own words, Las Armenianas en mi contra. The threats against me were constant. Despite the danger, he continued to meet citizens, hold events, and speak truth to power. Tragically, that defiance became part of his identity and part of his fate. On the Day of the Dead this year, Manzo was assassinated in broad daylight, a chilling reminder of the risk faced by anyone confronting entrenched criminal influence. Fast forward now a few weeks, Mexico City's National Palace becomes the stage for a remarkable protest. Gen Z floods the streets wearing straw hats inspired by the anime character Monkey D. Luffy. This isn't cosplay, this is strategic iconography. A portable, instant, recognizable symbol. Luffy, the fictional pirate captain, embodies exactly what this generation wants to project: courage against corruption, authority, protection for the vulnerable, and refusal to bend to intimidation. Reports describe the chants echoing through Reforma. Carlos Manzo vive, his courage survives. No somos uno, no somos dos, outrage multiplies. Todos somos Carlos Manzo. We are all Carlos Manzo. Yes, there were some confrontations with police, but the overwhelming energy was youth, outrage, and a refusal to accept injustice. Every chant, every hat, every banner is a lesson being passed down. Optimism in action. The next generation refuses to accept intimidation as the status quo. Todos somos Carlos Manzo. And if you thought symbolism and strategy stopped at Mexico City, London protests teach reporters how to survive when the chaos hits the streets, literally. So tonight, we're issuing something every Western reporter needs. No, not a press badge. Those don't work anymore. A real survival guide. Because if you're covering protest in London, apparently you need the instincts of a street preacher, the cardio of a parkour athlete, and the legal knowledge of a mid-tier weekend solicitor. The first rule of modern protest coverage: if a police van opens, don't go towards the light. Footage from independent channel 2CTV showed protesters ending up in the back of a van. One camp: the state has gone rogue. The other: the state has finally stopped being rogue. Somewhere in the middle sits a tired officer thinking, I didn't sign up for this. I want to be on traffic duty. And the takeaway for reporters: document. Document everything, don't assume, don't declare, and never ever leave your phone somewhere it can accidentally be confiscated. Next, in order to survive, you need to be aware of a few things you're going to encounter. Number one, kettling. That's when the police politely form a human instant pot around the crowd. Oppositely, you have dekettling. That's when you're suddenly 2 zip codes from where you started. Semi-kettling is when it's technically free to leave, but only through a Sherlock Holmes-looking alley. The trick? Move diagonally. Trust me, chess moves, but with chanting knights. And finally, you need to spot the agendas. Here's the real work: understanding the why behind the protest. Younger generation is loud, police are on edge, politicians avoid responsibility, and the press, half of them want to be activists and half of them hide behind lampposts saying, well, this happened, this didn't, this someone claims something. So how about be the adult with a mic? It's underrated. Channels like 2CTV matter. Physically, they're digging stories ignoring by corporate media. Go look, give them some support. London is a microcosm. Social trust drops, institutions wobble, free speech becomes contact sport. Cover it like it matters. And yes, you can still be funny. Lastly, you should wear good shoes. Some essential wisdom tells you shoes you can run in. If police don't chase you, protesters just might. If neither chase you, the news cycle will. When in doubt, always move diagonally. And now, from the streets to your screen, perception often differs from reality. The headlines tell one story, but context tells another. Which brings us to our next segment. Headlines are pretty much the fast food of information. Quick, cheap, and leaving you hungry. Take this one. Trump Republicans dismiss affordability crisis and shrug off election losses. You imagine clueless leaders, voters suffering, disaster at the door, drama, outrage, popcorn optional. Now slow down. Pull sources from the left, the center, and the right, and suddenly some Republicans are looking like they're tweaking policy. Some tariffs move. Messaging is staged. The base is energized. The optics, strategically messy. The lesson here is that headlines are snapshots. Context is high definition. What you think you're seeing isn't always the full story. Here on Soapbox Tonight, we eat the entree with a side of truth and sarcasm. And sometimes, because reality is stranger than any headline could capture, we're going to end up with some of the week's wildest stories. It's time for our Headline Roundup, brought to you as always by BB's Pager Emporium, home of the explosive good deals. First off, Elon Musk, mad ambition. He's talking about flying Tesla's humanoid robot surgeons. 5 years from now, they'll operate with kung fu precision and questionable bedside manner. Next up, Michelle Obama having a bit of a reality check. She says she will not run for president. Some ambitions are just too big for the moment. Maybe the electorate isn't ready for round 2 of the Obama administration. And then we have an AI bear who's gone rogue. Kuma, the AI teddy, has been yanked from shelves for allegedly giving wildly inappropriate advice. Humans are still not ready for rebellious stuffed animals. Looking up north in Canada, a man steals a city bus and then proceeds to drive it like a pro. Man hops onto an unattended bus, then continues to drive the designated bus route, checks fares, then finally gets arrested politely. Only in Canada, eh? And from flying Teslas to polite bus thieves, this week proves the world is messy, wild, and gloriously absurd. That's why we tune in, to laugh, to learn, and to keep an eye on the squirrels. Soapbox Tonight. Facts, fun, and humanity's chaos served with a grin. See you next week.